Welcome to episode 30 of the Brew Crew Scoop. We are exactly halfway through the season, and the Brewers are a season high 15 games over 500. They hold a strong lead on the NL Central. The Cubs continue to flounder at the bottom of the division, and Dallas Keuchel is a Brewer, which was not news last week, but he made his debut today. So,
Yeah, that's why we
a lot going
waited.
on.
That's why we waited for the to drop the pot a little later this week.
Yeah,
We had to figure Dallas Keuchel was gonna make a spot start for us.
we had a tip.
Well, in the walk off too.
Yeah, that's true. That was the main thing.
15 over 500 halfway through the season. Wouldn't have thought it when we traded Burns and Counsell left town, but here we are on June 26th. But getting right into the weekly recap, where we last left off was game after game one of the Angels series. So right after we recorded game two of the Angels series in LA, something crazy always happens right after we record. Brewers were up 6-0 in the bottom of the ninth, and the Angels got three back. Sal Frelick pulled back a 3-run homer to save the day. Anyone who went to bed early because the West Coast game probably was shocked waking up the next morning seeing that it was almost a tie game in the bottom of the ninth. Yeli had his 200th homer in the first inning of that game, and Chourio had a Little League homer earlier in the game, which I prepped this before what happened today. So that actually was a double, even though he came all the way around the bases. Then Angels game three, Hoskins had a first inning sac fly to drive it around. Adames had an RBI single in the eighth, and Freddie Peralta with 8 Ks, 2 walks, 3 hits over 6 innings. Hudson and McGill finished the shutout. Brewers won 2-0 to take the series, and then they went a little south to San Diego. Bryce Wilson versus Adam Mazur. Tons of back and forth in this one. 11 pitchers were used. Machado, Merrill, Adames, and Tatis all homered in the game. Brewers scored 2 in the ninth to tie it, and just when the all Pimps was looking about as good as he, I think, ever has, Jake Cronenworth sent one out of the ballpark to walk off the Brewers 7-6. Home plate umpire Andy Fletcher had kind of an awful night behind the plate, missed a lot of calls, a lot of which went against the Crew. Game two in San Diego, Colin Ray versus Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease K'd 10, Colin Ray struck out 0, but both had similar results. Otherwise, unfortunately, Padres offense was too much, and they beat the Brewers 9-5. Game three, Carlos F. Rodriguez returned to the mound. He looked decent until Merrill broke the 0-0 tie in the fourth. With a big home run, came out at a solo shot in the frame. Jacob Junis returned, this time out of the bullpen, and went 3 innings. He gave up a 2-run homer to Kyle Higashioka. And then while down 6-0 on the top of the ninth, Brice Turang hit pretty much an accidental grand slam with the game on the line on the top of the ninth, but it was not enough to mount the comeback. Brewers still lost 6-4. But they were able to salvage game four. Myers versus King. A couple young studs on the mound. Brewers put 5 on King in the second with RBIs from Frelick, Perkins, Turang, and Black. Brewers won 6-2 to avoid the sweep. And then the defending champion Rangers came to town this week. Monday, back home in Milwaukee, Peralta versus Michael Lorenzen. Peralta looked fairly solid. 2 earned runs over 5 innings pitched. His ERA still is just slightly over 4. So even with a couple good starts, Peralta still hasn't been quite himself. So added to the fact what we've been able to do with this pitching staff. But that's a side note. Down 3-1 in the bottom of the sixth. Rhys Hoskins hit a huge grand slam. Put the Brewers up 5-3. They eventually went 6-3. McGill picked up his 16th save. Kind of quietly, just keeps racking up saves for a fill-in closer. Game two, Milner opened up for Wilson. Milner gave up 1. Wilson came in the third and went 6 innings. Chourio had an RBI single in the bottom of the third. Ortiz homered in the fifth, and Hoskins had an RBI single in the seventh. Peguero got the save. Wilson went 6 innings pitched, 4 Ks, 3 hits on just 74 pitches. Chourio was 1 for 4, but he did hit 4 baseballs over 95 miles an hour. And then today, Dallas Keuchel made his Brewers debut. He was starter number 14 for the Crew this year. He was hit hard early and often. Unfortunately, even the outs he made did get smacked around quite a bit. But Bowers hit a grand slam, which was the Brewers' 3rd grand slam in 5 games. The Rangers came right back. The bullpen looked great. Koenig hung a 0 in the top of the 10th inning. And Andrew Monasterio, who came in for an injured Joey Ortiz, ended up walking it off. The Brewers swept the reigning champs, and despite losing 3 to the Padres. They were 6-3 since the last time we talked, and like I said, 15 games over 500.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, a lot of games since we last talked. Actually, we haven't had an off day. So, till tomorrow. But yeah, big didn't want to come on the pod after the Padres series. It was just a little down. We're not used to losing them, so had to wait to sweep the reigning I was gonna say national champs. Reigning
World champs.
world. Well, what? Noah Lyles, is that his name?
Yeah.
The sprinter.
Calm
Yeah,
down,
he'd
Noah.
Some would argue
disagree.
it is just a national champion.
He would. Well, we'll count Canada. So like a part of North America champs.
Continental champs.
Well, the Mexico has its own league. We all see Bauer's stats every week. Him and Cano are running that league down there.
Actually, we
Yeah.
lost to Japan in the World Baseball Classic behind our nation's best, Kyle
Well,
Freeland.
that's why we had to keep it continental, of
and-
course. But
Adam Wainwright.
yeah, Wayno.
Bueno should have sung the national anthem for us at the WBC too. Yeah, it seems like we have the Rangers number. That's 2 years in a row we've swept what seems to be a pretty good team. So I don't know what it is about us, but we've got them right now.
That's right. And the Brewers missing about 10 pitchers off the roster, not to mention that Corbin Burns isn't even a Brewer anymore, and they just still keep winning. That 48-33 record is tied with the 2021 and 2018 Brewers teams with the same amount of wins through 81 games through half the season.
Yeah, they look I mean, they just keep doing, I guess, the same stuff we talk about every week. They keep getting it done, and we somehow keep losing arms. And yeah, so still, no matter how many games you win, I feel like in the regular season, I don't know how I'm not going to ask for. Well, I know we acquired a Cy Young winner, but
Yeah, what more can
something
you
a
ask
little
for?
more.
Dallas Keuchel, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said too, Peralta is not even like really
Second half guy, though. We all know
Yeah,
it.
no.
So don't you worry. Yeah,
He
no, he
hasn't been
hasn't done it
bad.
yet, though. Yep.
He
I
hasn't
know
been
what you're
bad,
saying.
but nothing incredible by any means. Last thing to know from this week, Yeli picked up steal number 200 today to put him in some elite company. Active players with 200 homers and 200 steals. Jose Ramirez, Jose Altuve, Andrew McCutchen, and Mike Trout, along with Yelich. He also hit 300 doubles earlier this season, so quite a few milestones for Yeli. He's
He
putting
hit
up some
300 doubles earlier this season.
Yep, he did. He's put up in a really incredible year where Contreras has kind of cooled off recently, but Yeli is looking real good.
Yeah, he's just been super solid too. I feel like in years past, there's been kind of some slumpy periods for Yeli, knock on wood, but has not done that yet at all. I feel like even in his down weeks, he's still like a 700-ish OPS guy, so he's still productive. Whereas Contreras, the last couple, not quite as much, but
It seems to me that when Yeli's fully healthy, and it seems like other than that stretch where he went down, and it seemed like he kind of knew right away that his back was going to be bothering him. Other than that stretch, it seems like he's been completely healthy. He's stealing bags, he's elevating the ball, and that's always a concern with him. When things are wrong, he's grounding out. He's not as dynamic on the bases. So, yeah, healthy Yeli is the best Yeli for sure.
To go along with the homers and steals things for Yeli, the Brewers are the only team in baseball with 80 homers and 80 steals. And on top of that, they actually have over 110 steals. So just really speaks to the fun, young offense and energetic team that we have this year with the lack of pitching.
well, we've honestly pitched okay, but yeah,
Well,
lack
yeah,
of exciting
I
pitching,
guess.
I guess, or whatever. But yeah, I know what you mean.
I saw a tweet today basically saying like the Brewers are not a great team, but they're great at winning, which
Mhm.
that's kind of been the thing of it for the last however many years. We just keep doing it with much less than a lot of these other teams you'd expect to be up there.
And there's really something to be said for a team that can just be in every single game because of their bats, rather than a team who has to tighten up their asshole because they got to get to this next reliever, to this next reliever. Like we've been in like 95% of games, it feels like. I never feel like, oh, it's the third inning, I gotta turn this game off. So just fun. Credit to Pat Murphy as well. Cole, who's your untouchable pitcher of the week?
You fellas are untouchable. Is that the thing? No one can get to you?
There are quite a lot of candidates, but I do have to go with a 2-game winner since we last talked he might have pitched on Monday. I don't know, I'm counting it. Tobias Myers. 11.1 innings pitched, 2 walks, 9 Ks, 0.79 ERA. So can't complain there. Freddie also picked up a win and 2 starts since we last talked with a 1.64 ERA. So 11 innings pitched, 4 walks and 14 Ks. And then 3 guys since we last talked have not given up a run out of the pen, or an earned run anyways. McGill had pitched 4.1 innings, 4 Ks, 1 hit by pitch, again 0 earned. Koenig, 4 games, 4 innings, 6 Ks, 5 walks, not ideal, but again, no earned runs. And future All-Star Brian Hudson, 3 games, 5 innings pitched, 4 Ks, 2 hits, still 0 earned. So couldn't really pick between the 3 pen guys. So I went with Tobias.
Nice. You went with 5 answers. It's a good call.
Well, Tobias was the answer.
Upon further review, yeah, he pitched twice. You're right. There's a ton of games since the last time we recorded.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna shout out Tobias Myers as well. Brian Hudson is just, if he's not an all-star, we riot. He's been incredible.
Yeah, he's been nuts.
How big are the rosters? What is it now?
Like 37, and then
Yeah.
injury replacements. It's like an insane number.
Yeah.
I remember Hassan or Olney last year complaining about it. Like it's more than 10%. Yeah.
I mean, it works out for a team like us who's
Right.
been good and deserves a bunch, because if you have to give one to every team, and believe me, there are some teams that probably shouldn't have them.
It doesn't really matter if the All-Star game's big, as long as everyone's deserving, like you said. I don't really care how big the roster is. If that many teams have that many deserving All-Stars, it's just not like last year when Michael Lorenzen gets thrown in because there's no one on the Tigers that's an All-Star. I mean, which also doesn't happen that often, that exact scenario. So whatever. Cole, who's your hot hitter of the week?
Stop dropping on fire, Ricky Bobby! I'm on fire! He's so hot right now.
Well, since I'm not allowed to go into other people that deserve a mention, I will just say Brice Turang, who, according to you, accidentally hit a grand slam. I don't know if a guy with his power accidentally hits grand slams. I don't know if you know how hard it is to hit a home run in the major leagues. I know I don't. But
a guy with his power?
Yeah, accidental.
Brice Turang's endless amounts of power.
Since I went back to last Monday, but he had 13 hits, a double, a triple, 2 homers, 5 runs, 8 RBI, 3 walks, and a steal. So he got it all done. And I don't care if you don't like me shouting out more people. So also shouting out to Sal Frelick, 31 at bats, 11 hits, 3 doubles, 3 runs, an RBI, 2 walks, 2 steals. He's just been real solid, which is perfect timing for Garrett Mitchell's. Well, I know he had a setback today, but still staying hot and showing why he's probably not going to be the guy to go down. We've been talking about Chourio getting hot, and he stayed hot today, and he had, 9 hits since we last talked and 27 at-bats, 2 doubles, a homer, 4 runs, 4 RBI. So he's kind of perfect at the back of the lineup there as the second leadoff, as they call it in Little League Baseball. And he also had the highest average exit velo since we last talked. So he's still hitting the ball hard, which is also good to see. And then the last one, just because I got to give him the shout, is Jake Bauers. Only 17 at-bats, but 6 hits, 2 of which were homers, 3 runs, 3 RBIs, and 4 walks. So he's still a meaningful piece, I think, of the team currently. I don't know if we'll find something else, but he's got a good enough glove, and has productive at bats at times, as long as he's not seeing sliders.
Yeah, Hoskins warmed up this week. I don't have the numbers on him in front of me, but he had a good week as well as obviously the Grand Slam. And then Chourio, I just want to add to what you said in June now. 302, 348, 492 slash, 6 extra base hits. He's looked really good for a whole month now. It's not just this week. So that's really encouraging to see that hopefully he's adjusted back to the league adjusting to him. And Bowers, what I was saying today to you guys, like he's going to be around for a while. I think Tyler Black is going to be a bench piece and goes down when Mitchell gets back, and because they've pretty much told us that they're not playing Tyler Black at third base based off of what's happened recently, and I don't know, kind of sucks because he does look like he has really good at bats, but at the same time, Bowers plays a really good first base and has the pop. So I just like to see what Tyler Black could do in a month with regular at bats, because he shows really good flashes sometimes.
Yeah, those regular at bats might come once we deal him at the deadline.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. If he didn't look like Paul Molitor so much, it wouldn't hurt so bad.
I just as well leave him in AAA if you're not going to play him. I don't see the point of keeping your young guns or your prospects on the bench. I've kind of said, at least to you guys, that same thing about Chourio when he was getting pinch hit for in late game situations, where he's clearly a guy that you're already committed to. So I just say, I mean, you're playing good baseball and you obviously want to win games, but at some point you got to let your young guys take lumps. But if you're having them take the lumps on the bench, that's not what I see as the best. So yeah, deal them then. Go ahead.
That hurts to hear, but I'll move on anyways. Statcast, I already wasted my nugget. I don't really do Statcast the way you do, Cole, with your deep dives, but my stolen base and home run nugget has already been sold. So what do you got?
Mm-hmm.
Baseball isn't just numbers. It's not science.
You sure about that?
Well, I was originally going to talk about Dallas Keuchel before we had eyes on him in a Brewers uniform, but the Brewers beat me to it, even if Murph didn't have the right phone number when he texted him before the start yesterday. But I'll still go over, I guess, some of the stuff I saw and how it compares to what he did today. So he had a 3.93 ERA in AAA. He went 5 innings in every AAA start this year across 13 starts. So that's already something that I think we'd see value in. And we saw today why it might not happen, because he's going to get hit a lot. And that's just kind of how he plays. And he's never really been a strikeout guy. But again, in AAA, in the PCL, so definitely a hitter-friendly league. Sub 4 ERA, 1.21 WHIP, which is livable. His sinker set 87 while he was down there. So again, when guys like Mason Miller, or even in our system, we see some of the names pop up of prospects that are pumping triple digits. Keuchel will never do that, but even when he was good, he didn't. So there's still a silver lining there, I guess. It's not like he just fell off the face of the planet in that sense. Also throws a cutter that we saw today, got hit pretty well today, and in the minors it also got hit pretty well. So curious if they do something about that pitch. I think an 84-mile-an-hour cutter that doesn't move a ton is probably the reason it's getting hit a lot. Right, Scoop? Can you relate to an 84-mile-an-hour cutter that doesn't move a lot?
I don't know that I've ever thrown a cutter that hard. I can tell you about a 4-seamer.
And then he throws a sinker and a change. A slider and a change. Didn't throw the slider a lot today, but the changeup was decently successful in his outing today. But yeah, 60% ground ball guy. So we saw it. Even his bad inning, he gave up like 4 singles in a row. So he's gonna get hit a bit, and you have to hope the defense can play behind him and we can put up some runs. And he struck out more guys than I would have expected today. 4 Ks in 4 innings. So maybe Cy Keuchel's back. I don't know, but
hey, the Rangers offense is good. I mean,
yeah, no, you're telling me. But yeah, I mean, no matter who we play, I think he's going to be giving up hits. So it's just a matter of avoiding really solid contact and avoiding the back-to-back home runs we saw today and keeping it on the ground. But we have a good defense behind him, regardless of what some random advanced metrics say about Brice Turang or Willie Peralta. What is going on? Willie
Brewers
Adames. We have a good defense behind him, so I think that's the idea. Is if he can just play to enough weak contact, we see what happens. Like happened today. Wasn't perfect, but we won, so I'm not complaining.
As the proud owner of a Dallas Keuchel Astros jersey, I have to say that he did not look good today. Like eye test, I mean, not even the stats. Like I don't know. Like you said, Cole, the only thing that's making me hold out a little hope is that it wasn't like he used to be a fireballer and now he's not. But I don't know. It just looked like not good. I don't know. To me, it looked even like slower than Wade Miley, if I'm being honest. And I don't know why, but it's probably about the same. So
Yeah.
who knows?
His in the minors this year, his zone contact rate was 90%. So that just shows if people are swinging at his pitches, they're probably gonna hit him. So just a matter of letting the leather flash behind him, I guess. But yeah, I wouldn't count on being amazed at the eye test when you watch him, Scoop. It's I think we're just gonna get what we can out of him while he's around. But
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, in the same breath, you just need him to eat some innings at this point because it's clear that Carlos Rodriguez isn't ready. Gasser's gone. Woody's gone. Obviously, they just need a major league pitcher. Which whatever. We don't need to be the Greinke podcast, but if Zach Greinke wants to pitch, I would rather have Zach Greinke come pitch.
Oh,
than
man.
to be honest.
They are about the
I
same players.
knew it was going there. I was even gonna preface this whole conversation by saying you guys can finally shut up about Zach Greinke. We have one at home now.
Well,
I don't know.
I
I
wouldn't
guess
say
not.
that.
I guess not.
Zach Greinke might have more Gold Gloves than Keuchel's 5.
Zach
Keuchel
Greinke's probably swung his golf club more times than he's thrown a baseball in the last 6 months. So
no, he's playing World of Warcraft or something.
He said he was training down in Arizona.
Yeah,
yeah, for golf.
I was thinking
come
though,
back as a shortstop.
he needs that. He needs that. But Scoop, we were talking about his Gold Gloves, and I think Keuchel has so many because he gives up so much weak contact right at him that he probably just feels the most, and has to be good at it.
Right.
Also, Zach Greinke 11. What is wrong with my brain? Work's getting to me. 6 Gold Gloves, so he does have one more Gold Glove. So he is a superior player, Ryan.
Well, if your job is gonna hinder the podcast, I'm gonna have to ask you to quit your job, please.
All right, yeah, I'm still waiting on some checks.
Hey, Spider's hooking it up. All right.
All right, yeah, I'm not saying it's them or not. I'm just saying. Speaking of spiders, we still have the promo thing, right?
Yeah,
Scoop
you bet your
15.
sweet ass we do. Go ahead. Let it rip.
Yeah. Yeah, buy stuff from spiders.com and then put in the code Scoop15 for
All right.
15% off at checkout.
The code is the Scoop15 and the website is spidersbattinggloves.com. But try spiders.com and type in Scoop15. See what happens. Let us know. Looking at the standings, all the division leaders stay the same. Yankees, Guardians, and Mariners in the AL. I think the Guardians actually just took over for the best record in the
Yeah,
league.
the O's been sliding,
Mhm.
and the Yanks had a rough one.
And then Phillies and Dodgers in the other two NL divisions. And then the Brewers have, as it sits at 545. I'm assuming the Cardinals lost because they were down big. But let me check.
They did.
They did. All right. So the Brewers have a 6.5 game lead over the Cardinals in second place, who are 40 and 38. And 8.5 over the Pirates, 10.5 over the Reds and the Cubs. Cubs will play in San Francisco tonight and tomorrow before they head to town. So it could be somewhere between a 9.5 to 11.5 game lead when they get here. Let's bring them to town and let's put them out of their misery. Let's sweep them. Let's end the season. Let's make them sellers. Let's get Belly out of Chicago.
Jeez, that was a little strong. They're our friends to the south.
No, that's the White Sox. You guys are.
No,
a
they're
White
not
Sox
our friends.
podcast.
Remember, they were trying to square up.
I don't know, man. The White Sox are miserable. I can't.
You're telling me.
They might be my
Yeah,
least favorite franchise to follow.
they had all those players last year that I got really mad about not hustling. You guys remember this?
Mm-hmm.
The White Sox are on my shit list for now.
Well, Eloy can't because his muscles are made out of glass.
The same thing as Garrett Mitchell's. I wish Kean was here today. Kean would be ripping Garrett
Yeah,
Mitchell a
he
new one.
would.
You remember the first time he got hurt when he hurt his thumb?
Yeah.
Kean was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want, I can do my best Keen impression.
Yeah.
Well, first you're gonna have to. Your internet's gonna have to go down.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take.
I was waiting
25
for you to
minutes
sign
rejoin.
off.
Yeah.
Here's my.
I was gonna ask while we were on the standings. I figured we could bring it up later, but I wanted to just ask while we talked about it. But in the NL, every team's basically still in it, right? Other than the Rockies and the Marlins. And I don't want to speak for you guys. You probably assume the Braves are one of the 3 wildcard teams, but do you guys have front runners for the next 2 spots, each of you? Like, who are you taking?
I mean,
Cubs are the furthest out going into today, I think, or it might have been live, but they're only 4 games back, and the Cards currently are the 2nd wildcard team, so it's kind of just a toss-up. So is there anyone else in the NL that you're taking right now for those second 2 wildcard spots?
I want to take the Padres and the Diamondbacks.
The Diamondbacks. So you're going west.
I like their pitching.
D-backs?
Yeah.
I think Merrill Kelly comes back after the break, and I think Erod eventually comes back too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they got arms.
Yeah, I like those 2. I'm gonna go. I think the Reds still have a run in them. It's maybe not one of the teams that we've been scoreboard watching as much. I know we like to follow the Cubs just because of what happened, but Cardinals are up there right now. I have less faith in the Cardinals, I think, than the standings show them to be. I guess the central records aren't super impressive right now, but I like the Reds lineup. It's a young lineup. It's a lineup that probably gets better with more at bats.
Yeah, they get Marte back tomorrow. He's been kind of bad in the minors, but he was good last year when he was up. So,
and I do think that they'll still kind of be in a buyer's mentality, even if they're kind of sort of middle of the pack or even less.
Or I think
they
they're
can buy
a team,
arms to put
and I was gonna
themselves in a better spot.
They can afford to even sell off India type, maybe someone like that, stay afloat, but still add something they actually need. Nick Lodolo has been sick whenever he's up, but he's always hurt. He just got thrown on the 15-day with a blister. I don't know if you know any pitchers that used to miss a couple starts due to blisters, but he's just always hurt. But when he's good and healthy, and they have him and Green, and do they really have a third guy?
Andrew Abbott.
Montas.
Yeah, no, so they don't.
Who you and I have talked at length about being a solid starter.
Abbott's fine. He's fine. He just has a very low ceiling. He's fine as a 3 or a 4.
Yeah. But
I take him right now.
Montas is kind of fallen off after a strong start.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like, to look at the standings, and I feel like part of it is you got to think about where teams are and if they're going to buy. Like, the Nats lineup is done okay, but their arms have been pretty good, but there's no way they're buying.
Patrick Corbin's had a good June. Don't call it a comeback yet.
Maybe we can trade for him and he can pitch a couple starts for us.
Hey, don't doubt the Brewers pitching lab. They're clearly looking for higher levels of challenge here.
I don't know if you know
these new projects.
I don't know if you know how much money Patrick Corbin has left on his whatever year, whatever it is, but we ain't picking any of that up. So
it's more money that we spent on the payroll since Miller Park opened.
Yeah.
The Nats might pay us to take him, to be honest.
Yeah.
We'll pay all of it and then some.
Just give us Winker and we'll call it. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Giants still have a pretty good shot. And honestly, I won't say the Cubs because we're going to sweep them this weekend, but I don't know. The Cubs, people complain about the Cubs and whatever, but their lineup on paper and even some of the numbers aren't that bad. It's hard to look at their team and say they're bad. Their rotation's strong. Steele might have no wins, but he's also been really good.
They need they need like 5 relievers. That's the problem. Like, they're not going to get 3 to 5 really good or solid relievers at the deadline, even if they get 1 or 2. I don't know.
If Jed Hoyer knows what's good for him, he will buy 5 relievers at the deadline, because if not this year, then I think he's out the door.
I don't even know if they really need 5 though. If you get 2 good relievers, you're fine.
I guess, but they have literally had no good relievers at all.
Well, I think it's really just bullpen management. That's their problem.
Yeah, I would think about going out and getting a guy like, I don't know, David Ross.
Nah, he's the only guy I think I dislike more than Craig.
Nah. Wrong podcast, buddy. Were you done, Cole? I didn't want to cut you off, but
No, yeah. I don't really know who I think. Like it is such a toss up, but I still think the Giants have a
What about
really
the
good shot.
Mets?
And then
eh,
I
Nobody
don't
likes the
they
Mets.
could Senga back soon, but no.
They're
He's
really
he's got him rolling.
Well, even like the
Grimace.
Pirates, man. If the Pirates don't cut off their young arms and just let them eat, they got 3 dudes. Their lineup still kind of stinks, but
Pirates in
they
the
can add.
playoffs would be sick because one, we see what that ballpark looks like when they're in their playoffs. And two, those 2 young pitchers going in like a wild card series would just be so cool.
Yeah.
They're way more scary as a playoff team than I think a regular season. If they can get there, yeah, nobody would want to play them.
Reminds
They're
me
pretty
of the,
scary as a regular season team when it's their first 3 starters.
Reminds me of the Woody Peralta Burns 3-headed monster of the 2022 playoffs.
Yeah.
I put that poll on Twitter. So if you took away the future, how many wins do you think we have with Corbin Burns this year instead of Joey Ortiz and DL Hall to this point? And 23% said more wins, 21% said the same amount of wins, and 56% said less wins. So the people have spoken. Most people think that we fleeced the Orioles, just not actually fleeced the Orioles because they got a good return, but we made the right move for the Brewers. Curious to hear what you guys think. Do you think if Corbin Burns is on this roster at this point instead of Ortiz and the minimal contributions from DL Hall so far, are we about the same or what?
I said they were. I think I answered this poll as a devout Twitter follower of you guys. I said more so just as a result of the point in the season we're at. Like Burns starts every 5th day, and sure he's been great, and I'm sure he would have been for us. But we've seen Ortiz over the course of the year kind of become an everyday guy, and he's been great.
I think you're trying to answer less. How many wins do we have if we still have Burns?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right.
I definitely said less. You're right.
I'm following you.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Ortiz has been enough of an impact more days of the year to this point. Maybe by season's end, when Corbin has a full season of starts in him, you could say, yeah, that probably washes out. But if Ortiz keeps mashing the way that he has over the course of this first few months, we're good with it. And it's a move that you had to make as the Brewers, not necessarily as some other teams, but that's been hashed over already.
Yeah, I don't think I answered because I didn't like the question. I just don't care about where we. Yeah,
That's a classic.
I just don't care about where we are right now. I care about more for this season, and I'd still rather have Burns this year if we're looking at the full year because we've talked about it a million times about having a real ace other than Freddie. And Corbin has been that and more. So if we walked into the playoffs tomorrow and you took away those 2 guys and gave me Corbin, I'd feel better than having those 2 guys.
Well,
and I think when Hall comes back, he'll be good too. And if we use him out of the pen, I know his stuff plays up and he could be electric and huge for us. But this year, I'd still rather have. But in reality, it's not for just this year. And I definitely think we won. We got 6 years of control out of 2 studs and basically first round pick with a comp. So I still like that we did the deal. It's just for this exact season on the full year, I don't care about winning the first half. So that's where I'm at. But it's not, again, for the actual trade, taking into account all time, I still think we won. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
So what was your answer? I'm confused.
I don't know.
I didn't answer.
I think Cole doesn't like the question, Ryan. I don't know. I think we probably have less wins, but I think it's close. For the same reason you said, Ryan. I also DL Hall apparently through like a slightly extended outing, maybe like 3
Yeah, he
or
had
4
like
weeks. It was
45 pitches or something.
It was
And
like
like 2.2, I think.
Third or something. Yeah.
up to 96 or something like that. So that's
No,
good to
he's
see. That
he's
looks more
awesome
like
out of the
that,
pen too.
80 grade fastball we were promised.
We could have 2 versions of Brian Hudson soon where we can just toss a guy in and get an automatic 2+ innings, I think. So yeah, no. I think that'll be worth it. But it is kind of funny. I was thinking about it today. Obviously, we did the trade when we did it. We got back what we got back, and we've utilized a Joey Ortiz, for instance. Even though Scoop said he wants Tyler Black to play more, if we didn't have Joey Ortiz, maybe Tyler Black would he'd be winning an MVP right now. But anyways, I wonder what the O's would give up for a guy like Burns now, with Bradish definitely out for a year and some of the other injuries. It's like, I don't know. I was for doing the trade, especially just to get it done with, I guess, the drama. Because if we were in the situation right now, we're not selling Burns, obviously, if we're 10 games up in the division. But it would be interesting to see what his value would have been if you hold him, because, yeah, there's a lot of needy teams.
Breaking news. Dallas Keuchel on pitching in Milwaukee. Quote, there's just kind of an aura here every time you come here. Now being with the team, somebody steps up in a moment when it's really needed. End quote. He gets it. He wants to stay.
I really expected you to say Dallas
Hanging in the
Keuchel
rafters.
DFA'd. That is
Yeah.
really what I thought you were about to say.
No. But yeah.
I did.
In the end, it could just be like he makes 3 starts for us, and it's all just a nice story of us having a Cy Young guy for.
Well,
2
I was
weeks.
gonna say I saw, or I heard on I think it was Baseball's Dead, but then I looked into it. He has over $100 million of career earnings, and the dude was grinding it out in AAA for 13 starts this year. Now is signing the minimum or whatever to play with us, or whatever, 1.5.
Donaldson just did the same thing.
I know. It's crazy. Milwaukee, man. Everyone wants to live in Milwaukee. This is the market. Just bring him in.
I just looked at the schedule to see where his next starts will be. And in Colorado, which my first thought was bad place to pitch, but ground ball pitcher, doesn't matter. And then
it mattered today.
And then we got Pirates or Nationals. So he's got 2 chances to bounce back.
Yeah.
They should push him out of Coors Field.
Nah.
What are they gonna hit the ground?
I don't think that's a hot take.
To be honest, they do say that the Coors effect is more so for like singles and stuff getting out of the infield quicker rather than even home runs. I think I've heard some of the talk of the Coors effect is actually worse on contact like he'll give up, but we'll see. Who knows?
They'd have to push him back 3 days
Nah, he's fine.
to get him to Dodger Stadium.
Well, he's not gonna be an all-star if he doesn't get these starts in. I kept your identity anonymous.
All right, the Brewers injuries transactions, a new section of the podcast. Dallas Keuchel will get a prorated amount of the $1.5 million that he signed for this year if he made a major league roster. Robert Gasser underwent successful Tommy John surgery. Sounds like he got the normal Tommy John, not the new internal brace that guys are coming back faster from. So he'll be out 12 to 14 months. Bradley Blaylock was recalled and optioned again since we last spoke. Dunn was optioned. Tyler Black was recalled, as we mentioned. Taylor Clark was looking pretty good in AAA, but he ended up injuring his toe, so he's got a little bit of a setback. Devin Williams went off the mound on Monday, and they said he could be back sooner than mid to late July, so that would be a really nice wrinkle if we could get him back as soon as possible. Pat Murphy had said that Garrett Mitchell was close, but he hurt his hammy, it looked like, in the 9th inning today, so we'll see what comes of that. Carlos F. Rodriguez was optioned. Gary Sánchez hit the IL with a mild calf strain. Eric Haas was selected, and Joel Kuhnel was selected and DFA'd. Joe Ross was moved to the 60-day IL. Not really surprised. Did I miss anything?
I think you named every player in the organization, to be honest. We got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of injuries.
Just that we have the long-awaited Eric Haas return to the big leagues.
Jonathan Lucroy lookalike, huh?
Yeah.
You see it?
I see it. It's a little more burly, a little bigger, I think. I could see it.
I won't tell Jonathan you said that.
He won't mind.
Around the farm,
If it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
If it hadn't been for you meddling kids. Ah, meddling kids. If it hadn't been for these meddling laddies.
Jacob Mizorowski was named Southern League Pitcher of the Week. We already know about Chad Patrick. Over his last 3 starts, 18 and 30, he's pitched 23 strikeouts to 3 walks and 4 runs. Pretty incredible. Josh Nath, who was drafted this last year, his last start, he was 93 to 96 with 8 whiffs on his fastball over 5 2/3 and no earned. 4-pitch mix. They're saying that he has very advanced stuff for a kid his age, so that's really good to see. But then after that, I said it last week, but the Brewers literally just invent pitchers and put them in their farm system and expect us to believe that they've acquired these guys fairly. 'Cause I don't buy it. Yorman Galindez with Carolina, his last 21 innings pitched, he only has 3 earned runs with 35 Ks, 40% K rate. Shane Smith in Biloxi retired 17 of 18 faced in his last start. Season ERA is at 2.56. Eniel Cortez had a good start in Carolina after his promotion there. Before that, in the ACL, he had 27 Ks and 3 walks in 24 1/3. Kate Cooner went 5 1/3 innings for the T-Rats with 7 Ks, 1 earned. Wenderlin King in the DSL struck out 10 DSL Padres, which was tied for the second most in the DSL this year. And Manuel Rodriguez for the T-Rats went 7 innings pitched, no earned, 6 Ks, 1 walk. This is all in the last week or two. The pitching staff, I don't know how to quantify how good our pitching staff in the minor leagues is compared to other orgs, but we have new dudes pop up every single day. And then a couple of hitters quick. Luis Pena, he started 20 for 20 on stolen bases in the DSL in only 10 games. 20 for 20 in 10 games. That's crazy. Jesus Mare or Jesus Made. There are no accents in the name, so in my head it's Jesus Made, but it might be Jesus Mare. Dominating the DSL as well. That team's got to be incredible based on all the stats that I've seen the last week. Cooper Pratt, as of 4 days ago, the last update I saw, he reached safely in 40 of 41 games, including 27 straight. And then a couple 18-year-olds, Felipe Dituri and Yofiri Rodriguez, are both 18 years old, but they're 2 of 4 players 18 or under with 110 WRC plus above rookie ball. And then the last one I had, Isaac Collins in AAA, has a 935 OPS hitting lefty and a 1041 OPS hitting righty since May 11th. So switch hitting infielder who I feel like could play in the big leagues at some point this year, switch hitter.
Yeah, good stuff. I just saw a tweet from friend of the pod, Javik Blake, announcer in Biloxi. And it was just, Miz last 2 starts, 11.2, 13 Ks, 2 walks, 4 hits. That's 60% ground ball rate. So he can do everything Dallas Keuchel can do, but I don't know, 15 miles an hour faster. I for the start of the year, especially when he started kind of slow and had some control issues, I thought it was nonsense when people were saying we might see him, but if he keeps this up, I don't know. And we're a serious team about contending. I don't know how you don't utilize that. Can you imagine a Miz Hall piggyback game? I think that'd be nasty. And you mentioned as well some of the other guys. So yeah, we are showing out in the minors.
Also, a happy birthday to friend of the pod, Patrick Dorian.
Should we sing?
Yeah, we will right now and then cut it out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right. Yeah, that was good. I don't know if you guys have anything else that you noticed around the farm, but otherwise, I could take you back to my. Do you?
No, I was ready to talk about Chad Patrick, but you already hit on it. But yeah,
no, go ahead.
Nuts. You hit on the numbers, but it's just I think he is a Rule 5 guy next year, so he'll have to. I think.
I played against him in 2021 in college.
Oh, maybe not.
So this would be his 3rd year. I think it's after 4 or 5.
Oh, well, never mind then. I'm a liar. But if he were on the 40-man, I think we'd have seen him already, but I think some of the 40-man gymnastics and stuff is probably at this point what's not having us use him as a spot starter in some facet. So that's all I was gonna say.
You know, fun story about Chad Patrick and my friend Brice that you guys know. So Brice forgot his jersey for one of the games that we played, and I wasn't pitching. So he threw on my jersey, and Brice got a hit off of him. So in the on the scorebook for until they fixed it after the game, it said I had a hit off of Chad Patrick. So I'm gonna see if I can dig that up somewhere and post that on Twitter when he makes it to the majors.
Was it one of those accidental home runs that guys always hit?
Yeah, just those accidents. All right, my random game in Brewers history, take it back to July 31st, 2012.
Random.
An NL Central matchup between the Astros and Brewers. Dallas Keuchel versus Yovani Gallardo. This was Dallas Keuchel's first game against the Brewers in the Central. Brewers lineup: Nori Aoki, Carlos Gomez, Ryan Braun, Aramis Ramirez, Corey Hart, Ricky Weeks, Martin Maldonado, Cody Ransom, and Yovani Gallardo. Aramis Ramirez homered off of Dallas Keuchel. Corey Hart also had a home run. Nori Aoki, Ryan Braun, and Yovani Gallardo had RBIs, and the Brewers won 10-1. Gallardo went 7. Henderson and K-Rod took the 8th and the 9th in the win.
I've never seen Dallas Keuchel give up 2 home runs in one start before.
You know what's funny is that, well, he actually gave up 1 in this game. I looked at the second game he played against the Brewers that year, and he gave up home runs to those same 2 dudes, Aramis Ramirez and Corey Hart. It's kind of his thing against the Brewers.
I saw
Yes,
something
so.
today that Keuchel hasn't had a good start at Miller Park. I don't know if you guys saw that on Twitter. I think it was Kurt Hogg that threw it up there, but he unfortunately continued that trend today. So he'll have some chances.
You know,
I'm thinking it's gonna be
they say Miller Park's
have
not a
some
very
chances.
good ground ball pitcher park, so
I don't know what Cole's talking about with the Coors Field thing.
Well, I heard that it's more of just the ball plays the higher velocity, therefore there's more of even the hits. So like batting averages play up, not just home runs. Like the reason that Todd Helton's batting average was so high, people complain, it's not because it was all home runs that were going to be flyouts. It's because just more batted balls turn into hits, not necessarily more
All right.
home runs. But it's both, so doesn't matter. He's the GOAT. We're not going to worry about it. Dallas Keuchel is going to probably no hit the Rockies. You heard it here first. Clip it.
other MLB news. I don't know if you guys got anything crazy going around the league, but I saw Prince Fielder is going to be the bench coach in the Futures game. It's kind of cool.
Thank God. I thought you were going to say in the body issue for
Yeah,
ESPN the magazine.
What year is it?
going along with the All-Star hats came out with some controversy. Phase 1 voting ends tomorrow. Hoping to get Jory Ortiz into phase 2, but not looking super likely. Manny Machado for some reason is holding down that number 2 spot. I don't really get it, but Yeli and Contreras will be there. I don't know if you guys got anything else around MLB. I know we got our final thoughts segments where we go real deep, but anything active MLB wise?
I was going to say, I think as of today now, the Stros are 40-40. So they've made the climb. They're in second in their division, and they are right back in the heat of things with some pitchers getting healthy again. So, yeah, everyone was like, oh, it feels inevitable. And then it wasn't happening. And it looks like it's kind of happened. Blink, and they're 500 and right in the heat of things. So looks like they're not sellers.
I'm not
and then,
surprised.
yeah, well, there you go. It was inevitable.
It's been kind of a hard division to understand the first half of the season.
Well, it's because
the Mariners have the pitching to stay on top, but you didn't expect those other two to be below 500 for so long.
I agree, but both those teams have the same exact issue, and it's they both have good offenses still, and they both have half of their rotation out basically, or did for most of the start of the year. For the Stros and
Has
the
the
Rangers
offense been good?
It's not been
they
great,
still have a
but
good lineup.
yeah, I guess
And
I was more just
I won't
saying who's playing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, Semien hasn't been that great. Heim has been pretty not near what he was at times
Heim
last
was-
year.
yeah.
Yeah, they've all been worse. Even Seager's not
Seager, yeah.
being Seager.
Adolis has been
When-
borderline. No, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
they
say
rolled
bad,
into
but
town with Josh Smith hitting third for them, and props to him for having a nice season to this point. But looking at the OPSs, I was like, when I went to the game on Monday, Josh Smith was high and above the highest OPS in a lineup full of studs that we saw just show out in the World Series. But I think the hangover from that World Series definitely plays a part. We've seen that before.
yeah, I was gonna say Nathaniel Lowe's been nothing special. Adolis had like a 650 OPS.
Well, I think Adolis is seeing how these guys get popped around the league for PEDs and might be backing off some. I'm not
Yeah.
saying, but
Yeah, he's looking real small this year.
no,
They-
that's not the case.
They brought up on the broadcast for a second, but then got cut off before I think he finished his story. Talking about Adolis's debut. Do you guys remember his debut?
Nope.
I think it was his major league debut, but either way, when he was a rookie, like right when he got called up. Do you remember when the Brewers clinched in 2019? Was it at Busch
Man,
Stadium?
this sounds like it could have been a really cool random game in
Should
Brewers
have been.
history.
Should have been. Do you remember late in the game when I think Jeffress threw a pickoff away to first base and someone tried to score like all the way from first and then they tripped.
Oh, he
Yeah.
fell down. Yeah,
They tripped
like
and
that does
fell
make
and it
sense.
like
Remember that.
saved the game. That was Adolis Garcia. Kind of cool.
Always been a real one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess my point was that. And then the Tigers have really been fading. So I'm curious. I only bring them up because I think Jack Flaherty would look real good in a Brewers uniform come
Yes.
playoff time.
100%.
Come on, don't settle. Go for school.
Yeah, I'm going to settle for Jack Flaherty.
Yeah. I would love to see Jack Flaherty in Milwaukee.
Yeah. And then Diaz getting popped for sticky stuff. And I think I saw that ABS, there was some expansion into all AAA or something. So I thought that was interesting because the more reps, I guess, ABS gets, the closer it gets to the major leagues.
I thought during the game when I was there, I think it was Contreras while we were in the field. It was one of the later innings, and we had a couple guys on, and there was a close pitch that ended up being a ball, and it looked like Contreras did the like tap on the helmet, like he was pretending to do the like challenge.
McGill did it tonight in the ninth or today.
Yeah. So I don't know if guys are just kind of using that as their silent protest to say like, "Hey, that was a shitty call." But
Yeah.
I noticed it a couple times. He did it in the box too in another one of his at bats, and I was like, I feel like he's doing this on purpose.
Cole, you mentioned Edwin Diaz getting suspended, and I find it hard to believe that guys like that don't use sticky stuff and then all of a sudden try it. So
Yeah.
and I've noticed Edwin Diaz, he always rubs his hand in the dirt. Like if you watch him pitch, he's constantly rubbing in the dirt. Like to me, probably wasn't anything that he was doing against the rules, but they just don't know how. I don't know why they don't pre-tack the baseballs. But
Yeah, it's arbitrary, and the ump says no, it's really sticky. You can't pitch. You're like, what?
Did you guys see pictures of that hand though?
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah.
It looked like something that you get
But
thrown out of the game.
have
for.
you-
I know, and maybe it was like the rosin in the dirt or whatever, but when you come up to the ump and your hand looks like it did.
Have you ever played with the rosin bag though? Like you can get real sticky from rosin if you want to. Obviously, you're not supposed to deliberately do it, but I don't know. It's wild. But then going along the same lines, Orelvis Martinez, the big prospect for the Blue Jays, came up, made his debut, and then immediately got suspended for PEDs and then said it was for fertility, which I think it's come out that it was this is from Baseball's Dead. They said that it was a female fertility drug.
No, they then reviewed it, re-looked up
Did
the
they?
thing because they're not doctors, and they said it also can be used for males.
All right. Well,
At
either
the end
way.
of the day, we don't know, but he did get popped right after his
Okay,
debut.
at the end of the day, he said he wanted to keep it private. That's why he didn't disclose it with MLB. There's a very easy way to run supplements by. They do it in NCAA. I'm sure they do it the same way in MLB. Even if you want to keep it private, you can get prescribed something and then have to get it cleared by MLB and still keep it a secret. They're not
Wow.
going to.
Of all people, I wouldn't think you're against someone starting a family.
Yeah, they're not going to give it away. Like that's why I just think it's BS that he would say that he wanted to keep it a secret. if he thought it was a problem, maybe it was for fertility, truly, but if he thought it was going to be a problem still, that's the only reason to keep it a secret. If you thought that it was legal, you would have cleared it with MLB and they would have never made it public because they don't have to. So that's
Yeah, who knows?
interesting to me.
It's
But
just the tried and true excuse that is used for each of the folks that get popped for something like this. It happens.
Who knows? At least he didn't play JUCO baseball because we all know what goes on down there.
The Wild West. The upcoming schedule, Craig and the Scrubs come to town this weekend, and then the Brewers head west again for Colorado and the Dodgers. Big stretch for the Brewers here coming up. Push that division lead, hopefully, like I said, and come home. Then they play the Pirates and Nationals heading into the All-Star break. So hopefully they can take advantage of the Cubs series and then be difficult to play in LA. But other than that, they got the Rockies, Pirates, Nationals coming up. So teams that aren't anything too crazy. Hopefully we can take care of business and head into the All-Star break. And who knows, maybe we come back from the All-Star break with a legit number 2 starter.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Cubs series. Is Ray, Myers, and Peralta against Tyon, Assad, and Steele. So not the Cubs. Well, it's hard to say who their best is. I guess. Steele's been really good though.
Aren't they still TBD? Because when did Shota go last? You're telling me
No, they're pushing Shota out or something.
Okay.
Oh, you might be right.
Well, I heard today they're still TBD,
Yeah,
but who knows?
well, I'm looking at ESPN and I can't respect them as a sports news source. So
Death, taxes, and Justin Steele. We know that
Yeah.
pitch, but
Yeah.
Craig won't release the starting rotation sooner than 4:50 p.m. on Friday.
Are we sure Jose Quintana isn't a Cub again?
Right.
ooh, he might be through the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm. My beer of the week.
I'll have a brewski, Charlie. Well, there's nothing like a cold one after a long day, huh? Oh, yeah. I've been known to drink a beer or two.
Shout out to my good friend Cole. Potosi Varsity Golden Ale. From their website. Potosi Varsity Golden Ale clocks in at 4.0 ABV, pours a rich golden color, has the effervescence of a winning crowd with a crisp, sessionable flavor profile. Wow. That's a lot. That's a very fancy way to say a Miller Lite that pays NIL to the players.
Come
Hey,
on.
every
Cool
time
can.
I have one, it tastes like a 60-yard touchdown in the fall. So
It's good. It's good beer.
it's delicious.
I don't think that that 10% of one beer is gonna pay per 60-yard touchdown.
You don't know
That's what
that.
it tastes like. I didn't.
You're gonna
say
have
that
to
it
drink a
does.
whole lot more, buddy.
That's just what it tastes like.
We got to get your pop switched over from Miller Lite to Potosi. Maybe then. And Scoop. Mostly Scoop. Instead of that Miller Lite.
Well, you stole my beer of the week, so now I don't have one.
All right. Final thoughts. We talked about Murphy's text to Keuchel. That was pretty funny. And then also funny that he had the wrong number. Imagine getting that text and being like, "Oh shoot, honey, I got to get on a flight to Milwaukee." And then just another reminder to listen to Bob Uecker anytime you can. I try to sometimes even when I'm watching home to throw on his audio, but I need to do it more often because he's just incredible. And I feel like just the way things are trending, this might be his last season. It's already not super often he's in the booth. So take advantage of it while you can, especially with the fun team. It's cool to hear the calls that he has. The Grand Slam for Hoskins, and do your best to listen to Uke. Last couple of things I had, the Tennessee Volunteers won the College World Series. It was kind of cool paying attention to the World Series really closely for the first time in my life, really, and makes me more excited for the draft. I feel like the first couple rounds I'm going to know a lot of players, so that'll be cool. Like, draft is not really something I've ever been able to watch and really get hyped about because I don't know more than 3 players. And then the game at Rickwood Field, wanted to bring up first Barry Bonds when they asked him what would happen with Satchel Paige. I think we talked about it for a second last week. Did we? No, did we?
No,
Okay,
because
talked
we
about
were
it
right before the
we talked
game,
about it in
and
person.
I did have it written down to ask you what you would do in an at bat against Satchel Paige, and it's starting to sound like accidental homer, perhaps.
Next question. Strikeout.
I would bunt like whoever else was there said.
As
Yeah,
much
was that
as-
Griffey?
Was that Griffey? Yeah, I would bunt.
As much as
That was
I
a good
love,
answer.
as much as I love Satchel Paige, I think Barry's right. He made just about every MLB pitcher his bitch for 20 years. So
Yeah, and he was really trying to have kids with those
yeah,
those drugs he was on.
bless his heart. But then, yeah, last thing I had from that same thing from Rickwood. If you haven't seen the Reggie Jackson, and I know you guys talked about it too, the Reggie Jackson quote about what it was like playing in Birmingham. It's really, really, I don't know how to put it. It's something you need to go listen to if you're a baseball fan or just an American. It's not a cool thing, but something I think that needs to be heard about what was going on not that long ago and how cool it is that we can cherish the Negro League players that are still alive today. So really cool. And Reggie Jackson's always been a favorite of mine. So go check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, very, I guess, sobering comments and just the realization of what guys had to go through to play, and then what like the team around a guy could help him get through. Very similar. I mean, I think we all went and saw the 42. Obviously, it's a movie, but shows roughly what Jackie Robinson went through, and he might have been the first, but the next bunch of guys that followed went through the same thing pretty much. So, yeah.
I got to tell you, I read Jackie Robinson's autobiography, and I think that they based the movie off of his book because it seemed pretty spot on. All the big stories in that movie sounded exactly the same. So 42, I think, is pretty accurate down to each story. So that's cool.
Ryan, you got any final thoughts before I have 10?
I probably won't be on the pod before trade deadline comes and goes. So if listeners from the winter are still here, giving a listen every week, I kind of sort of hit on the Burns trade with Burns to the O's, including Joey Ortiz. So I'll give you my deadline prediction. I got Eric Fetty coming to the Crew.
All right.
I'm not going to give the package. I don't know the package. The MLB trade machine is no longer a unpaid website, so I have no source. Eric Fetty will be a Brewer by August 1.
I love that.
Very possible. I am gonna clip the part out though where you said you were right about the Burns trade, but we'll leave
It's
it.
okay. It's on the Twitter page. I can go back and retweet.
We'll take that down too. We'll get on it. I have a couple things. One was, I think I sent it to you guys, but Jonathan Papelbon's tweet about Giancarlo Stanton. He said, this was his tweet the other night. He said, finally, Stanton goes on the IL. This is what my under in his home run total this year needed. I knew he couldn't go all year without landing on the IL. Is this 8 to 9 years in a row? Take your time, Mike. I mean, Giancarlo, don't rush back. Like, what? One, why would he say that? And two, like, there's obviously, yes, Stanton's had a injury riddled career, I guess, but like Yeli damn near goes on the IL every year. It's like a lot of guys in the league go on the IL, and Stanton's been relatively healthy, and the injury doesn't look to be that bad. And I don't know what Giancarlo, or maybe at the time, maybe Mike did it to him, but I don't know what he did to Papelbon, because that guy's always kind of a tool, but I don't know why he's coming at him like that.
Papelbon's a Yankee hater, which whatever, I get it. He's a Red Sox blood, but the thing about Stan is like, okay, you look at like Eloy, for example, who's just always pulling hammies. He doesn't look like he's in shape. Like that, like to me, I don't like to blame guys for being hurt. That's what I'm saying. Eloy, it seems like his own fault. You can't tell me that Giancarlo Stanton isn't taking care of his body. Like I don't buy that for a second. So
yeah, it just was a little harsh.
Well, I think it was preceded, if I remember correctly, by some other tweet like before the season started of him actually saying like I bet however many dollars on the Stanton under. So
yeah,
at least
that's
it was
fine,
like
but I don't know.
It is, yeah, I don't know.
Just don't tweet it. It sounds like he wants him to be hurt, which I feel like is rather
He
against the
does.
player code.
He
I
has
know, but
money on it.
And what's the deal with Stanton? Stanton, correct me if I'm wrong. Stanton's never done anything to seem like a bad dude or anything.
No, I
right?
think it's literally because it's
Yankees?
very similar to how I bet the under on Byron Buxton's home runs because Byron Buxton is always hurt. Now,
Sure.
I
You're
have
not
never
gonna
tweeted
shit.
Byron Buxton, please be hurt. And then call him by his, then dead name him of all
Scoop
things.
clip that. Byron Buxton, please be hurt.
I don't have to wish it, to be honest. I like the guy too. He's electric when he's healthy, but like many a player we have seen across the game, does struggle to stay healthy.
My last memory of Papelbon is him getting fought in the dugout by Bryce
him
Harper.
choking one of the future greatest baseball players of all
Yeah.
time. Yeah, what a
Hey,
fucking
Papelbon's
bum.
got himself an argument as one of
What a
the
bum.
better closers. But yeah, and Scoop, you kind of hit on it with the Rickwood thing, but actually I think, oh no, Willie had died by the time we talked, but yeah, just want to bring him up again. Willie Mays. I feel like no one really had talked about him for a couple of years. I hadn't heard as much. Obviously, he wasn't in as good a health, but he might not be with us anymore. But his contributions to the game and society are still here. So don't let him be forgotten just because now he's passed. Obviously his name will come up endlessly in the record books, but awesome to see. Just the love, I guess, around the league and how much he meant, because he doesn't get as much of the talk, I think, for the kind of breaking the color barrier discussion, right? It's obviously Jackie, for good reason, I guess, gets a lot of the talk about it, but I think people kind of forget what all those other guys went through. So again, just another example of an all-around great player, guy from all accounts. And then the last two things. One, just to tie into the text from Murph. I saw today he had a quote and he said, "I don't look at the Twizzler," as in Twitter, as in X. So he's not a follower of the Brew Crew Scoop, but Murph is awesome.
He does listen though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure
He
finds a way.
definitely listens.
He waits
just
for it
doesn't go on
to come
Twitter.
through the AM radio feed somewhere, and then he listens. But no, Murph's
6:20 right after the game.
Yeah, Murph's been awesome. And the last thing, totally unrelated, basically, but I've been to a couple of concerts now at AmFam, and my girlfriend went this weekend, saw Uncle Cracker live in the flesh at a sold-out AmFam. So
Wow.
I was curious, got a couple diverse music backgrounds out of you two. I was curious your ideal like 3-person lineup at an AmFam concert.
Too easy.
I'll go first. Too easy. Scoop, you go first then. Well, your ideal lineup was at the Taco and Tequila Festival at what's that called now? Franklin Field?
Routine Field?
Yeah.
Well, it was. I thought they changed the name.
Yeah,
Or is it still
Franklin
Routine?
Field now. They have such a good relationship with Franklin that they named it after the city.
Yeah.
Well, one of them was just there. It's got to be some combo of Tupac and Snoop Dogg and maybe Dr. Dre.
Oh, we're bringing them back? Are you taking
It's a hologram.
hologram's fine? Yeah, that'll play.
I've heard stadiums, awful venues to see concerts unless you're on
Well, I told Alyssa before she went, but I was like, it's gonna be raining. I think they're probably gonna close that roof on this beautiful 90-degree day. And she said it was miserable in there and that someone was getting leaked on through the roof. And I said, no, that does not
Yeah, they
sound like
Fix that.
my.
What are you talking about?
the leak
Yeah.
they put in to get that government money. Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably even closed the panels too because there's tornado watches going on. So there's probably a sauna.
Yeah. No, I can't imagine. Ryan,
Any Brewers fan who watched Saturday knew that there were tornado watches all over southeast Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Wow.
what the fuck was that?
Well, no Brewers fan watched Saturday.
Here
That
goes.
was the problem.
The meteorologists
clip here.
were whining that we were Cole, keep your head.
We're whining.
Keep your head in front of my ERA, please. They were like, just so you guys know, the Brewers game is not important. They're arguing with people on Twitter. This is obviously life or death. And I was like, you could throw it in the fucking corner and just leave it there. They took it down for 2 innings. I didn't think I'd see the day where I'd see Milwaukee meteorologists arguing on Twitter about why they whatever. The one time we're on national TV.
It was
Usually the
funny.
weather is a pretty safe subject of discussion, but
No.
not anymore.
Not when we're losing to the Padres.
Yeah, that was wild. Boy, did my wife not care to hear me complain for 3 innings about it, but
I was excited. I was gonna listen on the way home from the gym actually on Saturday. And I threw on the radio. I heard like half a call, and all of a sudden the radio broadcast of the storms came in, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep it here while we go through the weather." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, guess I'm listening to music." Ryan, you got your ideal 3? Don't make me guess your ideal 3 because you might be offended.
I would be offended.
I can guess what
Yeah,
Cole's guess is gonna be.
Yeah, he's fishing for
Coldplay.
yeah, he's fishing for a Coldplay.
He's already
cover,
seen
but-
Coldplay though at Soldier Field, I think, so he doesn't need to
Yeah.
see him at AmFam. So
Well, the stadium wasn't the best, so I don't know. Wouldn't hurt to tie things up and see him again, but I don't know. Kings of Leon is a really, really awesome band that I've seen in concert already and would love to see again. So I'll throw them on there. I remember seeing a ticket of, I don't know if it was real or if it was fake, but at some point there was some kind of event or festival or something where the ticket was like Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and like Red
Yeah.
Hot Chili Peppers all at the same venue, and that would be a crazy. Just like as they were all kind of in their own different eras, but to see them all on one stage without probably even knowing they were all really good would be amazing, crazy. So there you go.
Little
There's
rock
my
tour?
ticket.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
All right, well, I think that's all we got for you. Thanks
Yep.
for listening. We're halfway home. Pat Murphy's Brewers are electric. So go Brewers.
Go cut. Brewers.
Fuck you. You cut
Free
that.
casting. Free
Free
casting,
casting.
Angels. You need them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was an all-star.
I would not.